Okay, let's wait for Tracy to come back and get going here. Okay, you are back.
We're back.
And
Hey,
you have
everybody.
audio.
Great. Do I sound okay?
Yep, you're good.
All right. Well, we don't have a whole lot to cover today. Hey, Brian.
Hello.
Nice to see you. We are the only thing I really have to report on is that it looks like Tony and I are going to be doing a presentation in Houston for the what's the title of that?
It's Open Groups supply chain event.
And so the other thing that Tony brought up to us, Tony is always a very busy person. He's always giving me all kinds of great suggestions. Is there's an interesting group. Let me go find it again. And I'll share it.
You talking about Space Isaac?
Yeah. I'm just going to bring it up. It is a really interesting organization that is, share this.
I put the link in the chat.
Cool. So it is a pretty interesting organization around security for the space industry in particular. Let me get this out of the way so I can make this big.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah, and we've started. Deploy Hub got a deal with Northrop Grumman recently. We haven't. I don't know if we've got it installed yet. It's, you know, they do everything by committee, so it takes a little longer with them. And they're part of this. And they also have a event in Colorado Springs, and I think it's in October, which is right before the Linux Foundation Leadership Summit, that we might attend. And we're thinking about having Deploy Hub sign up for it, which isn't really an Ortelius outreach, but over, you know, because of our affiliation with Ortelius, it becomes one. So I would, you know, encourage anybody to go take a look at it and give us your feedback. It's an interesting niche market for us to gain more recognition by bringing our, you know, having these types of companies support us. And they do have a whole area around security. In fact, it's one of their primary focuses is security. And so it's focused on threats within the space sector. So they have a whole area on supply chain. So it's just I think it's a very interesting group of people for us to get involved in. I guess that's the best way to describe it. So please take a look at that.
Yeah, if you take a look at the second link I put in the chat, I mentioned you reached out to Kathy Steen.
I did.
Challenge is doing things to do more company enablement for this. They're actually funded by the Air Force and Space Force. Hyperspace Challenge is. So there may be a connection there that's to be had.
And is that Air Force, or is that like Sandia, DOD, DOE?
No, it's Air Force Research Lab.
Uh-huh.
And there's involvement with Space Force, who I don't know that they have a separate lab. The way it works is there's a prime contract to New Mexico Tech, which then turns around and funds this thing called Hyperspace Challenge, which is, and the Q station, which is down on Central. You've probably been in there. And they have kind of a back-end contract with Central New Mexico Community College, which is who actually Kathy's employed by, even though essentially it's all based on this contract. And they're concerned about cybersecurity. You may remember, Tracy, you weren't able to get to it, but they had a 2-day workshop a few months ago on growing security talent.
Yes, it was right when I hurt my back, I recall,
Yes,
and I was
you
like, I can't sit in a chair for that long.
Right, and Lori LeBrock is pretty actively involved in that. So
It
anyway,
looks like they have something going on this Thursday.
yes, they do. I don't remember offhand what it was. I concluded it was not somewhere I was going to spend time, but
Well, I'll check into it and see if I should go and just show up and shake some hands. But these are, I mean, Tony, I appreciate so much that you brought this to our attention, and it just happens to correspond with our initiation of the work at Northrop Grumman. And if you were to have spoken to John Steen, which is another weird coincidence, about why they chose Deploy Hub, they were interested in the open source project, but they wanted something with the security that we offer with the pro version. But what they want to be able to do is make sure that they have consistency across all of their space vehicles, and that they can see into everything that they're adding to their space vehicles. They have a pretty strict, they have some pretty strict requirements on being able to know exactly what versions of things are running and what isn't contained in those versions for all their space vehicles. And all of this is what they were working on, has to do with the Mission to Mars project, the Artemis project. So it's an interesting time for us to potentially get more involved with that. So I just bring it up so everybody sees it, knows what we're that we might be working on this.
and I mentioned, I think you guys know Dick Wilkinson. He's got a contract from the Space Force on the more on the hardware side to do verification and validation of satellite-based hardware.
Interesting.
So they
Okay.
are giving, and his business is, 4 or 5 people. It's not a big company.
Right. Right.
They are doing that kind of thing.
The other thing that we worked on is we are, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but we are looking at where we take the product moving forward. We always try to be like a year in advance here. And I'm looking at, we're constantly pivoting, but now that we have we're gathering good amounts of data, how can we make it that data gathering more interesting? So I put together this slide deck. I'll quickly go through it. It poses this question about what good is a supply chain data that's trapped across containers. And we really talk about our mission is to centralize supply chain intelligence, creating actionable evidence. So that level of messaging hasn't changed much. But I have, and this hasn't changed, but I did create a new version of this slide that we've had before in some of this, showing that what we're providing is 2 sets of domains: producer domain, which is public dashboards and evidence with full API access. Now, why is that important? Because we have teams like Alpha Omega and Guac and many other different actions of security going around that they don't have a dashboard. And then you have consumer domains, which are private dashboard with aggregated public and private evidence. These checkboxes are what we have already been able to complete. So we can aggregate vulnerabilities across these public and private domains. We can show all domain usage or OS usage based on a domain, aggregated SBOMs, and a scorecard with historical versioning. What we're looking at doing is, this is all stuff that we work on in the summer so that we have things to talk about new and exciting for when we get back started in the fall. But the 4 areas that Steve has defined that we should be looking at is generative supply chain modeling, which basically generates pipeline workflows, threat intelligence correlation and analytics, vulnerability weakness analysis, and dependency relationship risk analysis. And I'll just quickly jump through and go through those 4 things for everybody to think about over the course of the next, I love this one. I call it our MVP because that's what we really do have. And what we really need to start thinking about is how to collect more intelligence to build this AI data store. So the first one here is this ability to generate pipeline workflows. So
Actually, not generate them, but take the ones you have and make them better.
Yes, yeah, which we're going to generate new ones. We're going to take an old model and generate new ones. And we would use information coming out of the Sterling tool chain and the scorecards to identify these top performing pipelines and find low performing pipelines and suggest new ones via a PR request. Right now, in terms of providing some real benefit, this would be an area that I think could get some good wins out of. First of all, we would be automating the Omega part of Alpha Omega. We would be able to take the Sterling tool chain that they're working on and use it as a model. And we could start evaluating these models based on the scorecard. So what we're looking at doing is looking at what the OpenSSF is currently doing and how we can potentially help them. This would be an area that we probably would want to work on first. And I'm starting to go out and look for funding for that. The next area is this ability to continuously notify end users. Sorry, somebody's calling me. Steve, why don't you take this and I'll.
Okay. So this one is it's the same concept as the log4j pieces, but what we're looking at is if you want to apply a threat model to the open source packages and then look at that threat model and figure out, follow the path of where that threat model needs to be fixed. So for example, we identify that there's a critical CVE that needs to be fixed that is being exploited. How are we going to remediate that? And as part of that, what we would want to do is analyze all the data that we have, figure out the exposure, and then recommend remediation steps and get people notified on how they actually fix things. One of the things I've seen that's coming out of the dealing with the security folks is they are really good at finding problems, but their guidance on how to fix stuff can be a little vague. It just says, go fix this. You have a problem here, you need to fix it, but it doesn't really say how to fix it. So that is where we'd want to be able to actually give them solid remediation steps. This next one is what I call the weakest link scenario. Basically, where do we need to focus our efforts? So there's tens of thousands, or if not millions of packages out there. Which ones do we need to really look at and evaluate to figure out which ones we need to bubble up to the top that need to be fixed? And then once we fix that, what are, things constantly evolve because every day there's new CVEs found. So the package that we think is today the most critical vulnerability, that one may get bumped down the list tomorrow because another package that's more highly used comes across. So that's the weakest link idea here for this AI use case. Tracy, go to the next page. And then finally, the dependency relationship analysis. This comes in two modes or two scenarios you can think of. I've run into cases where people are using two different libraries to do the same thing. So in the example here, two different JSON parsers, one secured, the other one's not secure. We should be able to identify that both are being used and that they need to change their code over to use the more secure one. The other aspect of this one is being able to prune your dependency tree. So I keep on going back to the hello world Node.js example where you get thousands of dependencies, but all you want to do is print out to the console hello world. Why do we have that huge dependency tree, and how can we prune that? And once we prune the dependency tree, that allows us to have a smaller attack plane, basically. So those are 4 of the scenarios that we came up with for AI. I'm sure there's a lot more out there that we can throw some AI modeling and ML modeling against. But these are the ones that we have come up with. So if you have any ideas on what we can do with the data from a analytics perspective, let us know.
Okay, and then we did pitch to the Linux Foundation, looking for a grant of 150K that we'd like to be able to do to get started on the pipelines. We'll see where it goes, but they do have some funds. And Tony, I may reach out to you to have a meeting with Omkar as a follow-up for this, because
Sure.
that's where the money would come out of, would be coming out of probably Alpha Omega. I do need to do some work on this, but that's what we're up to for the fall.
Yeah.
Any thoughts or anything anybody like to talk about on this topic?
Yeah, and just to let everybody know, the funding here, we were told it was probably the 150K was probably a little light. And also that's just addressing one of the 4 AI models. So we're gonna circle back around, but our gut is probably 750,000 is what we're gonna look at to try to get funding to do all 4 of those models. So that's the thought. We'll see what happens. Like Tracy said, this part needs some work on it. And we have to present to Omkar and get him on board. He's going to be the decision maker on this one.
And if they do get on board, then they'll go out to like the Googles and the IBMs and see if they can get funding to help us get funding for it. So again, it is funding specifically for the open source community, and so that's what we are. That's what we're working on in terms of outreach over the summer.
Good deal. Okay, I have to run, I'm sorry, but thank you.
No problem. Thank you, Tony. Any thoughts on this effort, or any areas that you guys think that we should include in terms of what kind of modeling we could do with the data and what data we need to collect to do the modeling? That's kind of what we need to start thinking about.
Yeah. So Sasha, like in your everyday work, how can we take the data we have to make your life easier?
What are you not seeing?
In my like building a platform for clients, for example,
Yep.
and like,
Yeah.
Exactly.
well, I'll tell you what, I'm installing Ortelius in South Africa. It's going to be going into some of the biggest corporates here, because some of our clients are massive, are the big corporates here. So Ortelius is going to be going in there as as an evidence store. Everyone's on board here. They totally get it, right? It's like it's the black box. I call it the black box, like an airplane black box. It's the black box of the cloud.
Yep.
It just records everything.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
the
and
AI.
I think on that topic, Sasha, I'll make sure when we get this presentation done, I'm going to share my screen really quick again here.
So I'm going to be sticking it at one of the biggest retailers in South Africa, Woolworths, and I've got a meeting next week with a massive insurance company. Yeah.
So right now, if we think about where we're at, we are really more focused on the private domains. We don't have, while Ortelius has the ability to show both, we're not, we haven't, we really don't have a lot of public domain data. So there may be just an argument for getting funding, not to worry about doing something new, but maybe one of those first actions is to build this public data. Because when we talked to
Yeah.
Fidelity, that's what really got them interested is, hey,
Mm.
we have our own private evidence store, but if you can pull in a full stack for us and
Yeah.
show us all that, like Kubernetes, right?
Mm.
So,
I just gotta underscore, I think that's huge.
yeah,
I think that's huge, and it's a great place to start, especially, well, as you're already saying, especially feeding data hungry AI. You know, sort of serves a great dual purpose, a service to the community, which of course will be leads to be deploy hub customers for private domain at some point. As well as establishing the necessary data store for AI. I love it.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
there's kind of two things on I've been looking into this, getting into a little bit of the technical weeds, but I have been able to figure out that most of the repositories like Docker Hub, Artifact Hub, have an RSS feed that we can basically listen to or monitor. So when there's a new Docker image pushed, we'll be able to get notified and then take action upon it. Those actions would be able to, do get the SBOM, whether it's been already produced or produced on ourselves, that type of thing. The thing that we don't have is a connection back to the Git repo, but we may be able to derive that looking at some of the logs and some of the other stuff that happens when they create the image. So that's one thing we will be able to do, is to start collecting all that data through basically monitoring the repositories. On the private domains for customers, for consumers, I think people are getting a little tripped up on this because it would be Ortelius running inside of a company or deploy hub if they wanted the extra features, but basically it'd be the public side would be Ortelius and the private side would be Ortelius as well. It's when we talk about private domains, it's really like behind the firewall domain. So that's the confusing part. I think we may need to change some of the terminology on that.
Well, just to make sure I get it real quick, but a public domain would use public data and be publicly accessible, or no?
Yeah.
So a public
Yes.
domain, an example of a public domain would be the Linux Foundation, Apache Foundation,
Or
Eclipse.
any open source project in GitHub.
Yeah,
And
basically.
right.
Yeah,
Sorry.
so that's like on the public side. And then on the private side, that would be your proprietary source code.
So Steve, do you know who got caught up on this?
Brian did, and yesterday they did as well on the what a private domain is. Because this
Well,
does not mean
there's So,
the private domain does not mean deploy hub.
no, I
Right.
know. It's just all Ortelius. That's why it's on a green box.
I get that, but that's not the way it's coming across.
All right, I'll try again on this. I thought I didn't think that this was a problem yesterday. But we can talk about that. Brian, did it seem to you like this site over here was going to be a deploy hub?
No, I understood it. Actually, it's funny because the green was the first thing that stood out, though it's a bit overwhelming, the green. But no, on my sort of ad hoc processing, I did not think deploy hub. I can imagine how someone might, though, if they were already aware of deploy hub.
So should I just put public Ortelius domains and private Ortelius domains? Would that?
Yeah,
clear up?
I
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
Okay, I have to run to my next meeting.
Okay.
Can you can you possibly share out the deck with me? I'd love to look at
Yes,
it.
absolutely, I will.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, people in South Africa I find it's very easy for me to put a new product in an environment. They don't mind. They're like, there's no resistance.
Oh, that's good.
Awesome. That's
They're
really
super
awesome.
open. They're like, just come and fix it. Just come and fix our DevOps. Just come and fix our developers. We don't care. Just fix it.
Yeah, well, that's how,
I'm
you
like,
know,
wow.
when you get something broken, you don't want to be, you know, you just like, come on, just somebody just fix it for me already.
And they're so honest. They're like, no, we don't know. It's a mess. We know it's a mess. Just come and fix it.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no like red tape and like heavy, like, it's like, okay, here's your company card. Here's your email address. Okay, off you go. Bye.
Well, Sasha, reach out to us because adoption has been a critical area for us.
No, it's gonna
So
go in
be
there.
sure, yeah, but be sure that you reach out to us. And if you need Steve's help, if you need my help, if you need any help at all, get on the, you know, reach out to us so we can make sure that those are successful.
Yeah, because I've got a cool mandate. I've got completely free reign to build a tooling platform of tools for companies here in South Africa with the current company I'm at, because they're an IBM house, but they've got all these customers now wanting DevOps because their DevOps is a mess, right? They don't know how to like manage it, right? So I've done that for them, obviously as documentation first. And Ortelius is the evidence store, and everyone's like, yes, Ortelius is the evidence store. They hadn't heard of Ortelius. No one's heard of it, right? Yeah, obviously. They don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And then they don't even know what it, and it's amazing, right? They don't know what an evidence store is. So they're so hungry to know what this thing is, right? And then when you tell them, they're like blown off their seats, right? Oh, it does that. Yeah, we need that.
Well, they do need it. So they're smart to go, whatever, and you know, it's an open source tool, so they don't have to pay for it. And that's the kind of stuff that people,
exactly. Yeah, so,
that's how Jenkins got started.
Yeah, and that's also my friend of mine, his daughter is a really, really smart lady, and she loves data science. So I said she must talk to you, Tracy. I think she may have even joined the Discord now. Charlize is her name. And I said, well, I remember you saying that Ortelius is looking for a data scientist. So, you know, she's
now
really
more
smart.
than ever.
Yeah,
now
so I said she must
ever.
talk to you to do data science for Ortelius. So you probably have a data scientist there. Yeah.
Well,
and another lady, yay!
We might be able to get her and Steve's niece working together because she's interested in that too.
Yeah. So I think she's quite shy there. So she's like, you know, because she's still very young, but she doesn't realize how smart she is. So
well, it kind of sounds like Emma. That would be a good match, right?
Yeah, no, she's super smart. Yeah.
And I'd love to get some young ladies working on this stuff. It would be amazing. It'd be amazing to have a team of them.
So you might get her and her dad joining a conversation with you.
Good. I'd love that. That'd be great.
Yeah.
And then we have a guest today, Jing Chen. You want to introduce yourself?
Sorry. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry.
Speaking of you ladies.
Yeah, I actually worked with Tony Prado in the past. So currently I'm based in London. So myself previously was leading the DevOps in a global bank. So that's why when Tony and myself caught up, you know, a few months early. So I heard this project. That's why I got interested. So I told him, I'm going to join you just to listen to what's this project about. Yeah, so that's me.
Well, thank you so much for joining. And did you join the Google group?
Yes, I have.
Great. And did we accept you?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Let me make sure.
I got the invite. So I was just trying to read some of the documentation as well. But yeah, the previous project we have, you know, but it's more in-house and some of the stuff which is in the cloud. But that's why I heard this product can across, you know, in-house as well, on-prem and also cloud. So that's why I'm trying to know a bit more as well, trying to learn a bit more about this product.
Well, where's your, do you have a particular interest in terms of technology? Like we were just talking about, some folks are into data science right now.
Data science, I am also interested, but I'm learning as of now. So my profession actually is in the project management, program manager in the, in the DevOps space. Yeah. But
you
I'm
know, I don't,
definitely interested. Yeah, interesting data science as well. Yeah, I'm learning. So I have learned some Python as well. Was kind of playing Python, in my spare time.
well, the
Nice.
reason why I asked that question is because when people are new to the project, we like to do two things: leverage their current skills and give them an opportunity to learn a new skill. And we function like any other software development project. We have all kinds of different, jobs to do. So if there's an area that you want to build your skills in, or you want to get better at the skills you're doing, you just let us know how you'd like to, what areas you'd like to get involved with, and we will make sure and help you with that.
That's great, Trace. This is my first open source project. So please let me
Well,
know.
great.
I don't know how to start it. Yeah.
I think it's awesome. You know what, would you do me a favor, and in the chat, you could just send it to me personally in the chat. Put your email there so I can make sure that you were added to like access to the Discord channel, all that fun stuff.
Sure. So yeah, so I'm kind of certified in PMI, for many years already, as well as program manager. But if anything those area I can help out, please let me know as well. But I do also want to take opportunity to learn the data science as well. Yeah.
Well, you dialed in on the right day, because we really are going to start focusing on, as you heard, starting to build that data in that way. So I'm going to go ahead and add you. So you might get added twice. So I apologize.
That's all right. But I'm still not sure where to start. So yeah, please let me know if anything I can help. Yeah.
Well, we always can use people with project management experience right off the bat. That's an area that we tend not to do so great at, because we just don't have the time. So that would be an area. And what I'll do is I'm going to send you an invite email. So maybe we can talk offline and where you'd like to focus and how we can get you going.
And we'll make sure we'll get you started in the right area, point in the right direction. Everybody's really helpful here, so we'll take care of you.
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah, don't worry, because this is my first open source project, and they still kept me here. Can you imagine it?
Yeah. And
He's been a great open source contributor too. Everybody has done a
part
great
of the
job.
Furniture. Yeah. I'm like an old leather couch now.
Yeah, you are the old lazy boy in the corner.
Yeah, exactly.
And look how far you've come. Look how far
I
you've
know.
come. It's amazing. It's
I'm warning
amazing.
you, Jen. You think you got superpowers now? Just wait.
That's great to hear.
It is.
Okay, I sent you the sort of the canned email, and I'm going to send you a private email as well, so you have my. But just get on my calendar and we'll chat and make sure that you're signed up properly. Because I honestly can't tell you how hard it is to recruit women in open source. It has been one of our biggest challenges. So I'm so happy that you're interested in getting involved. And we have another one that we're working on, and it sounds like Sasha's got a third. It would be great even to create a team that the three of you could work together on projects together, because then we can highlight that. It's great for your own personal branding, and it's awesome for the project. So I can't emphasize how important it is.
Sure. Sounds like a great timing.
Well, we love having you here. So thank you so much. Anything else? Any other business? And just so you know, we usually have meetings all the time. It's like one a week, it seems like. But this is the last meeting, and we take the month of August off. So while we're not having meetings, we're still working. We're just giving everybody a break from the meetings. So this is a good month for you to get started, make sure you've got your GitHub stuff set up and everything that you might need. Before we get started again in September, and then we hit the ground running, literally.
Okay.
We'll have all kinds of stuff that we'll be getting ready for in September.
Sure, sounds good.
Yeah, and just ping in the Discord if you don't understand something. Just ping me. Just ask, hey, how does this work, or how does that work? People will help you.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, I haven't done coding for a long time, so I will have lots of questions.
No problem.
Just use ChatGPT. Just kidding.
Yeah, you'll be stuck in an infinite loop
Exactly.
Yeah.
and you won't know why.
Yeah, it's like, yeah. Well, you're in London, so you're in the same time zone as me. So,
Okay.
yeah,
That's great. So I can
I'm
reach
in-
out
I'm
to
in
you
Cape
then, such
Town.
as. Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
I'm in Cape Town. So, and then Arvind and Utkarsh in India, so they're not too far ahead of us. And then we see Steve and Tracy normally in our afternoon, my afternoon,
Coffee time.
coffee
Yeah.
time.
All right.
Yeah.
Anybody else have anything that we need to cover?
No, I see Charlize joined. You'll see then the general channel.
All right, cool. We'll
Yeah,
keep an heads up for that.
yeah, cool.
All right, thank you, everybody. And since we won't talk for a while. have an
Yeah, enjoy your
well,
holiday.
The architecture team still meets in August though, right?
Yeah, I think next week or the week after.
Yeah. So there are still some meetings, but get ready for September. We'll all be busy.
Most
again.
of the stuff will be on Discord.
Okay,
Okay,
Bye,
thanks.
all.
Cool,
Great to meet
bye.
you guys. Cheers.
You
Bye.
Bye.
as well. Bye-bye.